It was pouring so hard that the windshield wipers barely made a difference. Ryan knuckled the steering wheel, squinting through the flood of rain as his old truck growled up the incline of Maple Ridge. The headlights of oncoming cars flashed like lightning in his face, blinding him for a second every time. But he didn't stop. Couldn't stop. He had a busted exhaust to fix before morning for an old man in town, and the man had promised to pay in cash. Ryan needed every cent of it. His hoodie was still damp from working on another car earlier in the garage with a leaky roof, and he smelled like oil, rain, and old rust. He hadn't eaten all day. Again. As he turned the corner onto the hill stretch, his headlights hit a figure standing at the side of the road. A woman. Soaked. No umbrella. Her hair plastered her face. Just standing there with both arms folded tightly across her chest, trying to keep warm. Ryan slowed down. Looked around. No car nearby. Nothing. Just her. He rolled down his window, slightly, the rain smacking sideways into the truck door. "You okay?" He called out over the engine. She turned her head, slowly, like she didn't expect anyone to stop. "Can you give me a ride?" Her voice cracked, quiet and uncertain. "Please, just to town." Ryan hesitated. He had a million reasons to say no. A soaked stranger. Alone. At night. What if she was lying? What if this was some kind of setup? But then he remembered something. His mother's voice, long gone now. "Always help when you can, son. Even if it's inconvenient. That's when it counts." He reached over and popped the passenger door open. "Hop in," he said. "Don't just stand there freezing." She climbed in without saying another word. She didn't even look at him. Just sat, hugging herself, her teeth faintly chattering. Her clothes were drenched. Her jeans clung to her legs, and the white cardigan she wore was more transparent now than protective. He turned the heat on full blast, even though it made the truck groan. He didn't care. They drove in silence for almost 10 minutes. The rain got heavier. The road narrowed. Ryan finally cleared his throat. "You got a name?" She looked over slowly. Her face was delicate, eyes tired, skin pale like she hadn't slept in days. "Elena," she said, then looked back out the window. Ryan nodded. "Ryan." Another beat of silence. "You okay?" he asked. She gave a faint laugh, and it startled him. "No," she whispered, "but I'm used to it." Ryan didn't push. But something about her. It wasn't just sadness. It was like she'd been running. Not just physically. Emotionally. Spiritually. He took her all the way into town. She directed him to the front of a quiet corner cafe, with the lights off. "You sure this is the place?" he asked. She nodded. "Thank you. Really. You didn't have to stop." She turned to get out, paused, then looked back at him. Her eyes softened. "If something ever happens, if someone knocks tomorrow, just open the door," she said strangely. Before he could ask what that meant, she stepped out and disappeared into the shadows behind the building. The next morning, Ryan didn't think about her right away. He woke up on his beat-up mattress in the back of the garage, shirt stuck to his chest from the night sweat. The smell of damp cement and motor oil filled his nose. He splashed cold water on his face, shoved on his boots, and opened the garage door manually. It got jammed every time. It was business as usual, until he heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Not on the garage. On the front door of the tiny apartment attached to the office. The one nobody ever used. He walked over cautiously, wiping his hands on a rag. Opened it. No one was there. Just a black envelope, taped to the door. He pulled it off, frowning. Opened it. Inside was a single sheet of ivory paper and a silver card. "Thank you for your kindness. You save more than you know. Expect a delivery before noon." No name. No signature. He blinked, staring at the card. Delivery? Before he could even react, he heard the sound. Engines. Not cars. Trucks. Big ones. Pulling up in front of the garage like some kind of scene out of a movie. 1, 2, 3 black delivery trucks with no logos. No marks. Just clean, polished, expensive looking. The doors opened. Men in suits stepped out. And one man, older, poised, sharp in a trench coat, walked directly up to him, carrying a briefcase. "Ryan Matthews?" the man asked. "Yeah. You're the one who picked up Elena last night. On Route 9. Correct." Ryan's mouth opened slightly. "Yeah, but how do you even know that?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he held out the briefcase. "Her father sends this. And his gratitude." He placed it in Ryan's hands and walked away. Ryan stood there frozen. until the man turned back and added, "She's safe. And you'll never have to fix another muffler to afford your next meal again." The trucks turned, one by one, drove away. Ryan stood alone in the morning rain, the weight of the briefcase suddenly too heavy for his shaking hands. He dropped to one knee and opened it. Inside the briefcase were stacks of crisp $100 bills, bound tightly, clean, untouched. Ryan's fingers shook as he picked one up, checking if it was real. It was. Each bundle had a small white band around it labeled $10,000. And there were 10 of them. $100,000. Just handed to him. For what? A ride? A heater and a little kindness? He stumbled backward, sitting on a wet step, rain soaking through his jeans. His mind was racing. This had to be a mistake. A prank. Something wasn't right. But the weight of the cash said otherwise. There was no note inside the briefcase. No number to call. No name. Just that line from the envelope earlier. "You save more than you know." Ryan didn't go to work that day. He couldn't. His hands were trembling too hard to hold a wrench. He sat inside the tiny garage office, door locked, blinds down, staring at the briefcase like it might disappear. He remembered her again. Elena. The way she'd looked out that window. Her silence. That haunted sadness. What had she been running from? What did she mean by, "Just open the door"? His phone buzzed on the desk. Uncle Walt. Ryan let it go to voicemail. Again. Walt owned the garage and had taken Ryan in after his mom died. But lately, Walt had been dropping hints about selling the place. Downsizing. "Ryan, you got to think about your future," he'd said last week. "This shop's a dead end." Ryan had swallowed that quietly, like he did with everything. Until now. Now everything felt upside down. By noon, word had already started to spread. First, the delivery trucks were seen. Then, someone snapped a photo of Ryan holding the briefcase, and it went viral on a local Facebook group. People started showing up. "Hey Ryan, you get rich or something. I got a car you could donate to me." He shut the garage for the day, locked the door, let the world guess. But by evening, a different kind of visitor came. An older woman, early 50s, tight bun, business heels sharp enough to pierce glass, stood at his door. She didn't smile. "You're Ryan Matthews?" He opened the door, just slightly. "Who's asking?" "Elena's aunt." He stiffened. She scanned him up and down. "I want to talk. Privately. Now." Inside the small office, she sat with her back straight, knees crossed. Ryan stood. "You probably think what happened was some kind of miracle," she said coldly. "It wasn't." Ryan frowned. "I don't know what I think." She gave a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. "Elena is my niece. She's been missing for 5 days. She showed up last night at my door, sobbing, soaking wet. Said a mechanic saved her. That's you, I take it." He nodded slowly. The woman stared at him for a moment. Elena wasn't just lost. She was trying to escape. From her father. Ryan blinked. "The one who sent me the money." She didn't answer right away. Instead, she leaned in. "Her father is George Valemont." Ryan's breath caught. That name. Valemont. The billionaire. Oil tycoon. Owner of half the city's downtown skyline. Ryan had seen that name on skyscrapers and news articles. She ran away because he tried to force her into a marriage, the aunt said. A man twice her age. For power. Control. You gave her one night of safety. Do you know how rare that is? She could have been kidnapped. Worse. She looked terrified, Ryan whispered. I could see it in her eyes. She was, the aunt said. But here's the part you don't understand. She reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph. It was Ryan and Elena, captured in the truck. He hadn't even seen a camera. She sent this to me, the aunt said, with a message. He didn't ask for anything, not even my name. She stood up slowly, walked to the door. You were the only person in weeks who treated her like a human being, not like property, not like an asset. Ryan stood silent. Before leaving, she turned back. The money was real, but don't let it define you. You did the right thing when no one else would. That's worth more than you think. Then she was gone. That night, Ryan didn't sleep. He couldn't. His heart was loud in his chest. Not from the money, not from fear, but from something bigger. He felt something shift inside him. He'd always thought he was small, just a background character in a story he didn't write. But now, he made a choice. A real one. He helped someone when no one else did. And it changed her life. But what he didn't know yet was that it had changed his even more. Because while the world was asleep, a new envelope arrived, slipped under the garage door. with a handwritten note inside. She asked me to give you this, if she smiled again. There was a number, a name, a plane ticket, and a letter. From Elena. Ryan unfolded the letter with trembling hands. The paper smelled faintly like jasmine. Her handwriting was elegant, but hurried, like she'd written in a rush, heart racing, unsure if it would ever be delivered. Dear Ryan, you'll probably never understand what that ride meant to me. I was drenched, broken, and hiding for more than just the rain. But you didn't ask questions. You didn't touch me. You didn't look at me like I was an object or a burden. You just turned up the heat, gave me space, kept me human. You reminded me what kindness feels like. You made me believe, just for a second, that maybe I could survive without chains on my wrist disguised as diamonds. I left because I didn't want to drag you into my world. It's dark, full of secrets, power plays, and people who destroy you if they knew what you meant to me in just one night. But I smiled today, for the first time in a long time. And when I did, I thought of you. If you want answers, if you want to know the truth, I've left a ticket under your name. Don't come to save me. I've already saved myself. Come if you want to understand why the world you live in is about to change. Elena. Ryan stood in the garage's half-light, rain drumming on the roof above. The letter shook in his hand. The plane ticket was real, business class. Tomorrow morning. Destination, Boston. That was where her family lived, where her father's empire breathed. It made no sense. And yet, it made perfect sense. He had nothing tying him here, except rusted tools, a mattress that broke his back, and people who still treated him like he'd never amount to more than a grease-stained shirt. Maybe that was the point. He didn't tell anyone he was leaving. He packed a small duffel, left a note for Uncle Walt, and boarded the plane the next morning with the kind of stillness that only comes when you've said yes to something much bigger than yourself. Boston was cold, sharp, like glass. The driver holding the sign with his name was polite, but quiet. Black suit, earpiece, government-style demeanor. They didn't go to a hotel. They went to a house. No, a mansion. Ryan had seen buildings like this in magazines. The kind with pillars out front and stone lions guarding the staircase. The kind that smelled like politics and power. Inside, it was all marble and silence. And then, she appeared, at the top of the stairs. Elena, wearing a soft gray sweater, hair tied back, face clean, yet somehow radiant. More alive than he remembered. Less ghost, more woman. She didn't speak at first, just came down, one step at a time, until she stood in front of him and said, "You came." Ryan gave a small, breathless laugh. "You invited me." She nodded. Her voice cracked. "I didn't think you would. I didn't think I had a choice." A pause. Their eyes met. "You do," she whispered. They talked for hours. In a sunlit lounge with tall windows and walls lined with books no one probably read. Elena told him the truth. Her father, George Vailmont, had arranged her engagement to a real estate tycoon who was known, privately, for violence behind closed doors. He had already broken the nose of his last fiancée. But George didn't care. All he saw was power and wealth consolidation. Elena had begged, pleaded. When her resistance became too loud, they drugged her, took her phone, monitored her every move. But 2 weeks ago, she escaped through the back kitchen entrance of their estate during a fundraiser. She'd been running since. Ryan clenched his jaw. "And now you're back?" "I came back on my terms," she said. "With lawyers. With media. With eyes watching. He can't touch me. Not now." "You're brave," he whispered. She looked down. "No, just tired of being scared." Then she looked at him. "I need your help," she said suddenly. Ryan blinked. "Me?" She nodded. "My father doesn't know it was you. But he knows someone helped me. He's looking, quietly. And when he finds out, you want me to disappear?" "No," she said quickly, stepping forward. "I want you to stay close to me, so he never dares to." Ryan was stunned. "Why me?" "Because I trust you," she said softly. "And because I don't know anyone else who didn't want something from me." He was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "What exactly do you want me to do?" Her eyes didn't waver. "Be my mechanic." "What?" She smiled faintly. "Publicly. For appearances. You'll work on the vintage cars. Maintain the garage. But in truth, you'll be more than that. My shadow. My protection. My reality check." Ryan let out a breath. "Deal." And that's how the poor young mechanic from a leaking roof garage became the personal fixer of a billionaire's daughter who had just broken her chains. but the world they were stepping into together wouldn't stay silent for long. Ryan's new job came with tailored uniforms, polished tools, and a garage that looked more like an art gallery. Elena's vintage cars weren't just for show. They were symbols. Every scratch he fixed meant something. Every day he worked close to her, the air thickened. But outside the gates, danger was moving. George Valemont knew. Not everything, but enough. He had eyes, connections, power that didn't knock, it broke doors. One afternoon, Ryan came back from town to find a garage door wide open. Inside, chaos. Tools scattered. One car slashed. And a note, taped to the hood. Go back to where you belong. She's not yours to protect. Ryan's fists clenched. But Elena wasn't afraid when he told her. Her eyes just narrowed. He's testing you, she said, trying to scare you away. Ryan stepped closer. Then let's stop running. That night, Elena held a press event, framed as a charity gala. But when she took the mic, she spoke the truth. How she ran, why, and who helped her. Ryan froze backstage as she said his name. Publicly, boldly. That moment changed everything. The headlines roared. Her father's silence. Even louder. But 2 nights later, Ryan's phone buzzed with a blocked number. A voice whispered, "She'll regret this. And so will you." Ryan wanted to run. But he stayed. Not because he was brave. Because he cared. When Elena saw the fear in his eyes, she didn't pull back. She held his hand. "You were there when I had nothing," she said. "Let me return the favor now." And that's when Ryan finally broke down, told her about his mother's death, his nights on cold floors, the feeling of being invisible. She listened, held his hand tighter, and said just 3 words. "You matter now." 3 days later, the silence shattered. Ryan was under the hood of Elena's '68 Mustang when security burst in. Someone's inside the house. Ryan dropped the wrench. By the time he got inside, Elena was standing face to face with her father. George Valemont. Calm, cold, dead behind the eyes. "I gave you everything," he said to Elena. "You sold me," she replied. "That's not the same." His gaze shifted to Ryan. "You think she loves you?" George hissed. "She's using you. You're a footnote in her rebellion." Ryan stepped forward. "No," he said. "I was the one person who didn't want anything from her. That's what scares you." George's lip curled. "You'll lose everything." "I never had anything," Ryan said. "But I have her trust. That's worth more than your empire." Elena pulled out a folder, dropped it on the table. Legal documents, press exposure, everything ready. George's threats collapsed in seconds. He left, without another word. Weeks passed. Peace returned, slowly. Ryan and Elena opened a foundation, Second Ride, helping young women escape toxic environments, find shelter, and restart their lives. The garage became a safe space. And on rainy nights, Ryan sometimes drove down that same road, just to remember where it all began. One night, Elena stood beside him under the porch light, her hand brushing his. "You gave a ride to a stranger," she whispered, "and drove straight into a new life." Ryan smiled. "No, I just did the right thing." And for the first time in a long, long time, he believed he was exactly where he was meant to be.